Hello, I'm Rick Stivers. I'd like to welcome you back to YoungMartin'sReels. Today's project is going to be this J.A.Coxe reel, and it doesn't work very well. And this is another test on this parts cleaner to see how things are going. Today I have filled it up with pine sol and water. I've got a 5-to-1 mix going on. Why did I choose 5-to-1? Well, because it took just about a half a bottle and then the rest is water at 5-to-1 to get it up to the fill level in my container. That's the only reason I chose 5-to-1. Is that a good mix? I have no idea. I've never used pine sol before. I'm not real crazy about the smell of it, but this particular one has kind of a lemon scent to it. So I'm hoping that that's going to keep me from having to go through all that nastiness that comes with pine sol. All right, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to put this in to the parts cleaner. Drop it down. I'm going to completely submerge it, and we're going to turn it on for 15 minutes. And we will find out if that's going to have any effect on it whatsoever. And I'm going to put a lid on this just to keep the fumes running all over the place. I still don't have it quite up to the 50 degrees Celsius that I was shooting for, but it's going to have to work. It's been through a 15-minute cleaning cycle now. Let's see. Doesn't really look like much happened in there, does it? Water's a little dirtier looking. We did finally get to our 50-degree temperature. Well, I said it didn't look like it did much, but actually it seems to have cleaned it up pretty well. It didn't take the rust off or corrosion, but it seems to have cleaned the dirt out. Let's see if it will turn now. A lot better than it did. Let's see if the clicker will come off now. It will not yet. Okay. All right, we can now disconnect the spool, which we couldn't do before. So it has made a difference. Let's loosen up the drag. Yep, drag's working. It's locking down. We still can't do anything with the clicker, but I can usually free that up on my own. All right. It's going to head up. I think that's one cleaning is all it's going to get. I might take these chrome pieces and put them into some vinegar and put it in for one quick batch and see if it cleans that up. If we'll see how that does. I don't plan to clean all of my parts in this part cleaner, but this was a particularly nasty looking reel, so I figured what the heck, let's give it a try. And as it dries now, I'm starting to see a crustation starting to get hold of it. So definitely don't think I want to leave pine sol on it. I'm going to take it and rinse it in the kitchen sink or a sink with some hot soapy water and see if we can get rid of this white mildew or white crusty that's starting to develop on it. And I'll be back. And it's going to end up with a bath, I think. And it already got one bath in the parts cleaner. And it's going to get another bath because I want to see if I can take this stuff down. What you're going to end up seeing is the original copper or brass underneath the chrome because I don't want to leave all this flaking all over it. So it's going to take a trip into some either vinegar or toilet bowl cleaner to clean all this corrosion off and get us down to a usable point. All right, for now, let's go ahead and see if we can take this nut off. And let's see if that's about a 14 is what it looks like. And it's almost a 14, which means it's probably going to be 5/8. Okay, let's try 9/16. There we go. 9/16 is a good fit for it. Wow. This has been on here a long time and it does not want to come off. All right, now this handle is really, really stiff. And I'm going to give it some oil down inside. And I'm going to take some compressed air and see if I can blow that oil down into the body a little bit and see. I'll be right back. All right, between the WD-40 and the oil, it seems to have helped quite a bit. It's not perfect, but it's much better. I mean, you can now spin the handle around, but you're not going to get a quick spin out of it. Okay. I'll set that over to the side. Let's move back to this. We've got a tension washer here. Then we've got our drag knob. Okay, and I'm going to take a wire brush to these. Try to clean some of the stuff off that don't belong in there. Well, that's interesting. There is a spring in here for this oil right there for the oiler. And that fits in the end right there. How about that? Okay. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get the spring out, so I'm going to leave it in there for now. Let's see where we go from here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove these 5 screws on the outside. Oh, by the way, this is a model 420. It says it will hold 240 yards. I think it says, no, 200 yards of line. All right, we have one short screw out of all 5, and that's the one that goes in the center of the seat. Okay, let's pull this out. See if the spool comes off, and it does. All right. Now, it does appear that the pine saw and the parts cleaner did an excellent job on the spool. There's not a trace of grease, dirt, nothing on it. That thing looks like it's brand new. All right, so let's move on. Let's finish taking this apart, and then we'll come back to this side over here. And there is our clicker that isn't working. And it is riveted in, so it's not going to just, I'll be able to unscrew it and take it out. So let me grab hold of it and see if I can rotate it slightly to get it moving. No, it did not budge. So we're going to have to put a little effort into that one. We'll put some penetrating oil in there. Let that sit for a little while. Maybe we come back, it'll move. All right, in the meantime, let's go ahead and see if we can take these screws out. And that one also is a short screw. Okay. Now the question is, does this trim ring come off? It doesn't appear that it does. It does not appear that it will come off. All right, and we've got to do something about trying to get this clicker moving again. There we go. I did move it, but I need to get something a little bit better to grab hold of it with. We've got the clicker working again. Let's see if we can wire brush it just a little bit, clean it up a little better. Okay. Let's go ahead and try to remove the shaft cover. There we go. And this one has a spring in it. Okay, so we'll clean that up, both of those. We got a little bit of scrubbing to do on this guy to make him suitable. All right, now we're moving in and progressing on with, okay, now that's our eccentric on it. And I swear, I wonder what holds that in. It doesn't look like anything. Kind of looks like maybe at one time it had a screw in it, but not anymore. Okay. Now we're going to remove these bridge screws, and it looks like all four have to come out at once. That is one crusty looking screw, at least on the head. All right, that's all four screws out, and this is dropping straight out. Let's see what we've got in here. We have a fractured case. Okay, if you look here, okay, the case is broken. The anti-reverse is attached to the bridge plate, which I like that design. It's got a spring that pulls it in for anti-reverse mode. That's I like that. There's a lot of things I like about the way they designed this. And the real question is going to be, is it going to matter that this oiler is broken? I don't really think it matters, except that that spring would have held the oiler in. Let me drop that piece out. There we go. I don't want to lose this. This thing is tiny. This is the oiler plug. Okay, we'll set that over to the side. A lot of corrosion on this case here, and we've got it chipped out right here. I gotta zoom in on that. This is not my reel. This reel belongs to someone else. So I need to get a picture of where that's broken out right there. Yeah, that's definitely broken there. I think he'll end up selling this as a parts reel. It's just really too far gone. And he knew that when he bought it, that it was probably going to be a parts reel. Okay. But we're going to try to clean it up as best we can. And because that's what we do here. Okay, no spring on that side. All right, now something turned here. This piece. Okay, so this chrome ring comes off. So, I wonder if that means the rest of them will come off. Or if that one was just loose. Okay. Got that one off. All right. If you could feel these things, they really feel horrible because all the corrosion and pitting. All right, let's see. This side does not want to come off, so I'm not going to force it. All right. And we've still got the drag system here. So we've got a washer here. See if we can pop that loose, get it to come up. Now there's a really good chance that this thing is going to have leather drag washers in it. And let's see what I can do. And it is still pliable. That's a good sign. Okay, got that one out. Okay, I got the drag where it will release the center shaft. Question is, can I get it to, oh, there we go. Got that drag washer starting to come up and out of there. There we go. These drag washers do not want to let go. Okay, here's that one. Here's another leather drag washer. By the way, that was the eared washer I just took out. Okay, and there's a keyed washer. Come on, come to Papa. Come on out of there. There we go. There we go. I didn't want to use too much force. Okay, and there's a hard washer. No, that's actually a thicker leather drag washer on the bottom. Okay, set that one over there. And unhook that from the anti-reverse. Let's see if we can. Okay, that's not going to come up and off because we've still got the pin in right here. Okay, so we have to remove this pin in order to slide the rest of this off, and we need it off because this one's really dirty. There we go. There comes the pin out. Now the sleeve comes off. That's where the spring is. There's our spring. Okay, and we just got a lot of cleanup here to do. All right, there's our yoke and our pinion gear, and that seems to be a permanent design. That does not look like they intended for you to ever take that pinion out. So that's a permanent design, it appears. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so we'll have to scrub that up as is, just like it is. All right, what parts are going into a parts cleaner? Here's what we're going to do. We have a jar. Oh, and they're not going to fit. Okay. Let's try this parts cleaner box. Okay. There we go. We can lay them down in there. What other parts do I feel are going to need that? I believe that this gear is going to need it. Oh, we never did finish getting everything out of there. There's the next drag washer. And there's the last drag washer. All right. Well, all right. Well, that gear in. I'm a little leery about putting, well, these are going to go in different, okay? These are going to go into either acid or vinegar, one or the other, along with all of these parts. And this part, I think the handle looks okay. All right, all of those need to go in and see if we can get the corrosion off of them. This spring right here is pretty heavily corroded. So we're going to see if we can get the corrosion off of that. And we have these 4 bridge screws. Okay, we're going to drop all those in. All right. Now, the question is, do I put this into acid or do I put it into vinegar? I've been trying to make up my mind on that. The reality is the reel's actually in pretty bad shape anyway, so I don't really think the acid's going to hurt it that much. But I'm afraid that it's going to eat up this side plate. If it was just all metal parts, you know what? I'm going to take this side plate out and we're going to scrub it by hand. And all of these parts are going to go in straight up acid. Okay? So, and then that's going to sit down in the parts cleaner. So, let's give this thing a shot. Okay, there we go. Let's see what happens. All right, I had it in the cleaner for 4 minutes, and I decided that might be enough. Let's take a look at what the parts look like coming out now. Oh yeah, I think 4 minutes was plenty of time. It definitely ate away all of the corrosion, revealing the base metal underneath, and I think we're good. At least it doesn't feel nasty in your hand anymore, so that's good. All right. Yeah, it definitely worked. Okay. What I'm gonna do is just use that a little bit along the edges here and see what happens. I'm just afraid that that acid will get down inside, and we're gonna rinse that out. Yeah. From the time it takes me to take this to the sink, we're gonna call it good. But I'm gonna drop it in for 1 minute, and then it's going to the sink and get all the acid washed off. And let's see when I come back. We're back and ready to start assembling again. And we're going to start off with the bridge assembly. And this is the anti-reverse. We'll move it over out of the way. All right, there we go. And now this should fit down on there. Oh. I have just a little bit too much bend right there. I think I might have it now. All right, I'll set that back into place. Get that spring to hook over the anti-reverse. Now we've got it even without the screw. There we go. Just need to get it adjusted properly. Okay, but I'm going to come back and add some grease to this now, so that spring can slide on there without wearing. We're going to put some oil on the anti-reverse claw, and then we'll set this back in. Get that to lock over the anti-reverse claw like so, and there we have a nice smooth fit. All right, the next thing we need to do is find that little pin. There it is. Find that little pin and reinstall it back into the sleeve, like so. Make sure it goes all the way in so that it cannot interfere with the main gear when it goes back on. All right, now one of these washers is thicker than the rest. That will be this one. This one goes on the bottom down here, like so. And then we're going to put the main gear on. On this other side now goes a drag washer, followed up by the keyed washer, followed up by another drag washer, followed up by the eared washer, which has to fit down into these little grooves. All right, come on, you can do it. Just there you go. Then you get the final drag washer in, like so. That's how they all fit. That's your drag washer stack. Okay. Okay, I had a phone call in the middle, and I'm not sure where I was when I stopped, but I believe I was at this last drag washer on here. So we're going to put this cap washer on right here, and this is ready to go back in. Now, If you remember, there was an oiler spring that went right in here. It's got a little pin right here. It goes in like so. And that fits into this little hole over here. But I believe, see where that's broken out right there? I'm afraid that if we put that in there and set this back in, I'm afraid it's going to slide over sideways and get into the gear. So I'm really tempted to leave that out. But for now, let's go ahead, put a little grease on here. By the way, I did grease all of these drag washers. I forgot to tell you I was doing that when I did it. All right, let's see when we set this back in here if it looks like that spring is going to cause us any grief. Okay, with it in that position, will the spring go in and out? It does. Okay, then we're going to leave it where it's at. Okay, and set the screws in. I set the first one in. If it doesn't start like this one isn't, come back and check to make sure. See how it's not lined up in the hole? Adjust this over, and you may have to loosen the other one if you tighten it too tight like I did. Okay, set it back in, get it lined up on the hole. Like so. There we go. Let's see if this rotates okay, and it does. How about anti-reverse? Anti-reverse is working. Good. Now, we have these 4 posts right here, and there are 2 different lengths of post. You got 2 short ones and 2 long ones. The 2 short ones go into the base of the reel seat right here, like that. One on each side. Okay, and we're going to go ahead now and install this so that these will be in place. And if you want, what you can do, I'm going to suggest you even do it this way. Let's put the middle one in first. Get it started, and that kind of helps hold everything in place while you set the other 2 in place. And do them one at a time, because they tend to want to just kind of dance around. In the hole. Get this one in place. Get the screw started. And then you can probably just rotate the post to get it to screw in. Just make sure not to cross thread it. Which it feels like it's cross threaded. Now it's going in. Okay, just get it started. We don't need to get it to go all the way in. See the same thing on the next one. Okay, we're going to leave those loose so that we can adjust the other side when it comes time to put them in. Now these 2 upper ones, let's go ahead and put those in. Now we're going to take a little grease on this clicker cog and on the end of the shaft here, and then we're going to put a drop of oil into the bushing. Set this in place right there, and now we should have, there we go, go the other way. Yep. All right. It's not quite as good the other way, but it does still work. Okay, turn that off. There we go. Now, we've got to put this side together, and we've got to figure out which of these rings is which, or are they identical? And I believe they might be identical. They are not. If you look, on one of them, there's a little divot right here. The other one doesn't have that. Okay, only one of them has that little divot. So let's take a look and see what may be called. Okay, there's where the divot goes. So the one with the divot is going to go on this with the handle, or on the handle side. So let's slip this up under here, straighten this. Oh, let's see if we never did try that. Okay, yeah, there we go. That's working. Oh, and let's go ahead and put a little grease on each of these ramps right here. Because that's where that has to slide in and out for the jack plate. And what that does, when you push this back and forth, watch the pinion gear here. See how it goes in and out? Now, what did I forget to do? I forgot to put grease on this main gear. So I've got to go back and pull this back out and grease that. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to go off camera to do that. All right, the main gear and the pinion gear have now been greased, and I'm going to put those back in. Okay, I've got the greased gear back in now, and everything seems to be working fine. Okay, jack plate is moving in and out freely, and we've managed to eliminate all that corrosion that was down here, or most of it anyway. Now it's time to go ahead and put these side plates on. As I said, there's a divot in one of them, and the divot goes on the side with this piece right here with the handle. So let's slide this in, and we've got to kind of maneuver it to get it in, and then we're going to bring it around and line up the divot with the holes like that. And this outside, this plate is the one, this one here is in the worst shape of all of them. It really took a beating. All right, come to this side, and we'll line up the holes over here like that, and we're ready at that point to go ahead and, well, almost ready. Let's go ahead and put some oil down in the bushing. Let's oil the shaft for the spool. Let's slide this. Let's slide this back up again. Let's go ahead and put a screw in just to hold it in place. Kind of a placeholder while we set this back in place. Okay, slide that in. Now we're going to put that bottom small screw in first. We got to get it lined up. There we go. Put one in each top. Get those started. Okay, once you've got them all started, then you can work your way around getting them all snug. And back to the beginning. Okay. Wow, that looks pretty good. The spool's really loose at the moment though. Okay, now we're going to slide this sleeve on here. And this is going to be a little tricky, I'm afraid. It might be easier than I think. But we got to get this spring to go back down inside. And I wonder if it was actually inserted from the other end to make it go in easier. And then I didn't think to do that while I had it out, so that it will kind of start into the hole. Then kind of rotate it. See, counterclockwise rotation is what it needs to go in and down. There we go. There we go. Got it. Okay. That was kind of fun. Let's go ahead and oil that spring. Now we're going to put on the drag knob. Make sure, this is one of the most critical parts to make sure that you don't cross thread it. Okay. Next goes our tension washer. On top of that goes our handle. Remember, we did some work on this handle and it's reasonably free. Okay, then it slides on, and now we've got this last nut. Let's put that on. Okay. Let's test our drag. Tighten it down. Oh yeah, that'll hold. Okay, there's free spool. You can't see that, I don't think, but it's spinning. There you go. And let's tighten that down a little bit. Take the play out. I want it to just barely have any play side to side. There. Give it a spin up. Good. Okay. Let's turn on the clicker. And it did not work. Oh, we're not on. All right. Turn the clicker off. Okay, now, I had a guy come to me a while back because he had a Penn Senator that was doing exactly what this reel just did. Okay, and he was afraid that that was a malfunction of the reel, and it's not a malfunction. Watch this. Okay, when you turn the handle, okay, spin it up. Okay, when you re-engage it, and you go to engage, okay, this time it engaged. Let's try it again. Every now and then, when you go to do it, you'll end up with a, there you go, right there, where it's tight. Okay, and it won't, the reel will feel tight, and all of a sudden you'll feel a click and it'll jump in. What that is, that's simply the pinion gear meshing with the spool. And when you've got tension on your line, it's automatically going to do that. So it's going to be just a little bit of a turn, it's stiff, and then it's going to pop in. Okay, just like that, just right there. Okay, right there, it's tight, and then it's hard to do. It's hard because it won't do it every time. It just clicked right there. I heard it. Yeah, you can't get it to do it all the time. There, you heard it click? That's where it clicked, and it was sitting on top, and it's stiff for that little bit, and then it will pop in. That's normal on these types of reels. Okay? For just doing a simple lubrication, we're going to come in here, give it a shot of oil. We're going to come over here, give it a shot of oil, come over here, Give it a shot of oil. And then there's this other one down in here. Go in here, and we give it a shot of oil. And I was afraid of that. It stayed in. I'm afraid that that's going to cause things to bind up in there. That's that one where the case is cracked. All right. So there you have. I always thought this was J.C.Coxe, but I think it's J.A.Coxe. Or maybe it's just J.A.Coxe. And it's a real company. It's the model number 420L. And it's a nice reel. Or it was in its day. It's had a hard life. Again, this is just like that Fluger that I just did. It's more of a shelf sitter, although this one is fully functional. It does do everything it's supposed to do. So you could take this one back out and fish with it, whereas you couldn't with the Fluger. But it is not a pretty reel. Certainly not a piece that you would want to use as a collector, most likely, because there's much more pristine versions of this reel out there if you were looking to collect. But if you just really wanted a neat old reel to sit on your shelf, that's a pretty good one for it. So anyway, that's Rick Stivers with Young Martin's Reels, signing out.